come from.
So basically, anything we do in our reality of our life, right? When you come out, cross the road, you look at right and left, right? When you do anything, anything in your life, we apply those models. We don't use science to cross the road, do we?
No,
we don't.
probably not.
No, exactly. So we use this rational faculty that embedded within us.
But that's what some people would call instinct, maybe. That is a very human nature thing.
No, I mean
that is material for me. Instinct and
I mean, this is another way of saying this, changing the word of intellectual faculty by instinct. But the fact of the matter is, I mean, we have to be rational and logical anything we do in our life. So the same logic has been questioned on finding God, whether there is something, or can it come from nothing? Can the universe give birth to itself? All those existential questions actually posed to our intellectual faculties because we already are ready for answering that question. Imagine if I go to a cow, I said, cow, you need to cross the road. Would you think cow will believe?
No, but I think that is, I mean,
or cow would comprehend the information.
I see where you're coming from, but I do think this is a bit of a far-fetched thing to say because, again, I feel like, of course, there's something as such as intellect and these things, but I do also feel that there is, I'm not sure if I would say that is the best argument to go from intellect towards.
Shall I give you something that you already applying it?
Okay, yes, please.
Why did you wear this scarf?
Because I'm cold.
Okay.
And I want to.
Okay, let's unwind the process. Let's unwind the process, right? So you said you're feeling cold.
Yeah.
Where did you come up this information? You are feeling cold.
I have neurons in my skin that register the temperature
the signal,
around me,
right?
and that send a signal to my brain, and that translates.
Right. So you have a program faculty working on, which giving you signal that you need to protect yourself. So that things you completely apply without any external forces. You didn't look at BBC or a documentary or any papers. You made this choice, right?
That is evolution. That is genes being passed on from generations.
It's testimony sometimes as well.
Yeah,
it tells you it's cold outside.
Exactly.
And that at some point, our ancestors realized they went outside. It was cold. They were like, maybe I should put on something on my skin, and that will make that feeling go away. And that is evolution that's passed down in genes in a very biological manner down to generations. So now we know, actually it's cold.
Yeah, but then at the same time, even if you feel cold, you need to make the choice. Either you can wear it or you can reject it. Like sometimes you see the weather, your mind is telling you it's cold, you need to take the jacket. So either you can choose to obey your command, whatever you are feeling, or you can reject the command and go without jacket. What we are saying is, you already applying the method of reasoning in your daily essential life. That's what you do. So if you apply the same standard, so there are 3 propositions I have given.
But I am still reasoning with the same thing. We're circling back to the same things. No, I am applying a matter of reasoning. I am applying that I'm saying there are examples where things have been created out of literal nothing.
Give us an example.
Exactly what I've said before. Black holes, black matter is a thing in the universe that we can observe that is coming from nothing, zeroness. There are no atoms, there are no particles, there's nothing before, and then there's this, which we cannot explain as humans. And in a way, that is very similar to how the universe could have been created, that there was nothing, and then there was something.
I have 2 questions for you.
Yes, please.
Is it a belief of yours that black matter exists? But is it a belief of yours, or is it substantiated by the scientific evidence?
It is substantiated by scientific evidence.
What evidences does that? Do you have the evidence? Because I have the complete opposite evidence for you.
I'm not a physicist, and evidence will always, science is always.
She's doing well, by the way.
Science and evidence is in a way always objective or subjective, actually, because science always depends on who makes the science, what
I'm glad that you say that.
used.
Yeah.
Of course, science is never. We're not. Maybe eventually, we will get to a point where humankind is able to produce objective science. But right now, there are consensuses. If there's a large part of the scientific community that can agree on something, there's a very high chance that this might be true. But of course, there's never scientific evidence that can claim the full truth and the only truth.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you are agreeing with this proposition. That
It
of
is
course,
true,
because
of
look,
course.
the science
But
work
again,
on a base of limitation,
religion is not
and
either.
where the
religion is nothing that we
when
can say, okay, there's a proof of religion where we
Yeah.
can say this is
Nah.
for sure
But
the full truth, and that is where my original point comes back.
I agree.
At the end, it's belief, it's
I
faith,
agree,
and there's
but-
nothing how we can rationalize this that will make it go beyond the point of where you need to have faith, and that's it. That's all there is.
I agree with you, which is important because in the Quran, Allah commands us to believe in the unseen, as
Yeah.
in like it's part of our theology
Yeah.
to believe in the unseen.
Exactly.
However, this thing that we're talking about doesn't really resonate here too much.
Yeah,
It's not about
fair.
the intellect, it's more to do with here.
Exactly.
Because there have been moments in your life where you looked up to the sky, not symbolically, and you're like,
Yeah, of course.
why is this happening? Or
For sure.
when is this, right? And I feel like it's about pushing through into God. You kind of have to like wiggle yourself to God, because because you already have established ideas about reality.
Yeah, of course.
So me telling you something about science might not necessarily change it, but like what I think he's trying to tell you in a more subtle way is like look at the horizon,
Of course.
and ponder upon that,
Yeah.
like why is it that there's people out there claiming this thing that there is this God that wants
Of
us to live in he gives us the choice, but there's
Yeah.
a particular way you can live, and once you live that life, there's more to come. Because if you think about this, human beings constantly live as if we live for forever.
Yeah, for sure.
The same way, the neurons that you have in that tell you what that is called, there's also something, neuron in your soul that tells you to live as if you live for forever. No one lives like, oh, I'm just going to live for 60 years.
Yeah, no, it's true. For
So,
sure.
and this is where religion comes in. Religion says the reason why you have that urge is because there's something else to come.
Yeah.
And I
get
think the whole point of we call it in Arabic aql, which is the aql,
yeah.
aql is a intellect, and it constantly refer on aql with not with the eyes. Quran was reflected with the heart.
Yeah.
So it's one interesting passage. Quran makes mention of that. It is not the eye blind; it's the heart blind. Meaning, people will see the fire, but they will still end up there. You need to apply the rational reasoning whether this fire is dangerous. So the eye actually cannot make the decision. Eye actually connecting with the brain or with the heart, and then the brain making that decision, right? There's the same way we were saying is, if you take your instinctive measure, then listen to the voice that coming out, that question cannot be answered in the realm of
Are you a
science.
materialist?
I am quite
Yeah,
very much
Yeah.
materialist. But I think what you're saying is very beautiful, and I think
Yeah.
like I said at the beginning when you weren't here, it resonates with me in the sense that I am a very much materialist. I believe in what I see, what I can touch, and everything. But I also believe I believe in structures of society that come from material conditions, but then are obviously not touchable and not feasible.
I was about to say that.
And I also believe in nature and in like unexplicable things that maybe come from like, call it a spirituality of some sort.
Yeah.
But I think overall, that's, like I said before in my original point, I think there's always this kind of thing where there's faith. But I need to cut
Let me
this
just
short. I'm so sorry, but I really need to leave.
Yeah, thank you.
It was
Look after
lovely
yourself.
talking to
Please
you.
visit us again.
I
Yeah,
know.
thank you.
It was really lovely talking to you. I hope you have a best day. Bye.
Bye bye.
I think, let's face the camera. I think the idea is somehow the sense of God is there, but it is changed with the wording she is using.
Yeah.
You see, because every time, and I don't want to force with her understanding, but I think it's like you mentioned in the last question that she's looking at a materialistic angle of view.
But this, the funny thing is that the further you dig into the material, the closer you get to God.
Yeah.
Like
Correct.
You can't escape it. I really wanted to push back on her ideas on materialism.
Exactly.
But she said it herself. She said, well, there are certain things in society that are not material, but that drive us. Because that would have been the next thing. So it's not just material.
And I think one second. I think the idea also with the tangible particle of the universe and intangible particle of the universe. So, for example, like unseen matter of ghaib, they completely reject the idea because whatever the comprehension of the understanding, they only agree. So I've seen materialists, I've spoke to before one or two. in different
If
dawah.
you guys are on camera right now. We're just finishing off.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So hopefully she will
The
come
thing
back.
with the ghaib, the reason why
Yeah.
I said it was
Yeah.
because I said it's a component.
Yeah.
And it's not a component that
Yeah.
I'm what's it called, ashamed of.
Yeah.
Allah tells us literally that
Yeah.
that's what entails.
Yeah.
And you have to push yourself. You have to push yourself. You won't, this idea that it's going to be a pure intellectual
Yeah.
pursuit to the truth, it's a
Yeah.
lie. They use this as circus. It's like playing with it. you
Yeah,
know?
and Allah said, "Alladhina yu'minuna bil ghaibi wa yuqimuna as-salah." Those who believe in the
Yeah.
unseen
Yeah.
and yuqimuna as-salah and then establish salah.
Yeah.
And then these are the condition of the guidance and successful people.
Yeah.
So let's hope she maybe ponder upon, because I've given her the Quranic argument. Because I feel like straight to cut to chase. You don't wanna
But
say
even
too
black
much.
holes is a bad
Yeah,
example.
and a bad example, and I'm sure. Jazakallah khair for bringing that. The thermodynamics law of that energy cannot be created nor be destroyed.
Yeah,
But is it in the closed lead?
Yeah.
Often they think no, it's an open lead.
Yeah.
And which is the misconception. Jazakallah khair. So inshallah.
Allah bless you.
May Allah bless you. So hopefully Allah guide her to Islam. Inshallah.
Ameen,
Assalamu
ameen.
alaikum. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.